Warm welcome to our second training session in regards with the Awakened Imagination Challenge. Now remember, in the first video that you checked out, I've actually mentioned that these videos are developed with you in mind. So today we're going to look at the concept of the impact that your past has on your future. What you and I have to realize that most people experience life being lived on a linear plane. And what that actually entails is that all of us has a past. Now that's a given fact. There's nobody that does not have a past. We have a past, we have a present, and therefore we are supposed to have a future. Well, I'm using the word supposed because many people don't have a future. They just have an existence of a non-existence experience of the yesterdays being repeated continuously. Now what happens here is our Creator predetermined or then pre-programmed us to create from this dimension of our lives. Now this dimension of our lives, from your past to your present experience, entails your memories, or then your framework of reference. So your framework of reference is very important because out of your framework of reference we keep on recreating the future events and experiences in our lives. So if you actually look at this concept here, and it has been predetermined that we create from this experience. If you had a negative past, you're going to create that negative past again in the future. Let me give you a good example, or one that you maybe can associate with, or then remember about somebody that has experienced this in the past. There's a lady and she's married to a panel beater. Now it's not a physical panel beater. You know, somebody that does panel beating on motor vehicles, but panel beats his wife and he drinks too much on a Friday afternoon. Now many years passed and she eventually decides, okay, I'm going to kick him in the butt. She should have kicked him in the face. I'm joking. Okay, kick him in the butt, chase him away and divorce him. Okay, then a couple of months pass and something slips in, and we call that loneliness. And in getting lonely, she decides, okay, I'm going to get a new partner in my life. Guess what's going to happen? She's going to attract the same kind of personality into her life. Yeah, you're right, again, a panel beater. So this cycle can be repeated and keep on repeating. So actually what happens is we live in a cyclic life. There's a beginning and an end to wherever we go. We go to the essence of the Gospel of Philip, where the disciples comes to Jesus and says to Jesus, tell us about the end times. And he says, you haven't even found the beginning yet. Go back to the beginning and you'll find the end times there. Therefore, everything starts and ends at the same place, and we have to end off specific essences in our lives. So eventually this lady decides, okay, I'm going to see an expert, like me, for instance, and we break the cycle, and she can then attract something with a different personality in her life and end off the cycle of experiencing being panel beaten every Friday evening. Does that make sense? Well, if this is a given fact, and God has pre-programmed us to create from our memory or our framework of reference, then we actually have a huge problem in our life. Luckily for us, there is something that has been given to us that we can use to experience different realities through that. And that is actually written in Romans 4 verse 17. So if we look at Romans 4 verse 17, Romans 4 verse 17 says, call those things that be not as if though they were. So what we actually now do is we take our future and we put it in our past, and we act as if. In modern day language we call it fake it until you make it. So we now have a future past. In other words, vision. The Bible says my people perish because of a lack of vision. We have a vision for our future. We take that vision through goal setting, put it in our past, actually act as if it's already so, and now we have a choice. We can now say, okay, I'm going to create from my definite past, the past that's definite in my life, which is also only a memory. I'll create from that one there, or what I'll do is I'll take my future past and I'll start creating it in this side. And obviously, this will create a better result through that. What is, however, very important about this aspect, if you look at memory, there's three kinds of memory. And we actually in the program are going to teach you how to revise your memory so that you can create a different past for you. Now many people say to me, but Ockert, your past is a definitive. Well, actually it's not. It's just a memory. You just remember the past. And every time you remember it, you create that from the beginning again. So we can create a different past to experience different realities in our current experience here. So the three kinds of memories that we experience in our life is, number one is cognitive memory. There's a cognitive memory, and cognitive memory just means 2 times 2 are 4. It's stuff that you've learned, stuff that you can think about. I like to call my students cognocracy people. And cognocracy actually means a society of people thinking for themselves. And I'm quite sure you listening and watching this video, eventually if you tap into what we train here, you'll also become a person that actually really and truly think for yourself. Hang on a sec, you're saying that you are thinking for yourself? Are you so sure about that? Well, if you actually say, I think, how many people are actually thinking with you? You know, the three most dangerous groups of people you can ever meet in your life are parents, teachers, and preachers. All those conditioning that's in your mind, and every time you say, I think, I make a choice, all those people actually influences the way you act and speak and experience things. Therefore, we have to create a different memory so that we can experience different results. So there's your cognitive, and then there's your muscle memory. Your muscles also have a memory, and we all know that driving a motor vehicle with indicators on your left hand side, you borrow a vehicle and the vehicle's indicators are on the right hand side, what's going to happen? You, through your muscle memory, is going to put on the wipers instead of the flicker lights. You've been there, haven't you? Alright, good stuff. So there's a muscle memory, and then there's also another memory, and that is a cellular memory. Now, cellular memory is very important because cellular memory, there's billions of cells in your body, and every single one of those cells has a memory. If I actually take one of your cells, I can clone you with the same memory that you have of the previous person that you have been. So when we work with changes, and the Awakened Imagination Challenge is focused on that, in working in all three these different aspects of our memory banks, so that we can create a society of people thinking for themselves, and therefore create a life by design instead of by default. Now, let me just say this in ending of the short training session, and we'll look at the following video session that we do in greater detail towards that. But the essence here is, the Awakened Imagination Challenge says that we have to take responsibility for our creations. We have created every single thing that we experience in life currently. So this is of the utmost importance. If we look at this, the Awakened Imagination Challenge has the ability to be a partaker of the opposites in your life. So, in a nutshell, the Bible says in Job, let the weak say, I am bankrupt. I'm joking, of course, it's not that. The Bible says, let the weak say, I'm strong. And the other verse says, let the poor say, I'm rich. Okay, so what we can do is, whenever we experience a negative thing out there, we can then recreate that in a positive experience. Now be sure to watch the second video that follows on this, and we'll elaborate a little bit more on that. Okay, this is Ockert signing off. See you in the next video.
Remember to watch the rest of the video series of the Awakened Imagination Challenge Module 1. You can also follow us on Twitter or friend us on Facebook. Or even better, subscribe on our website at ockertmoller.com to get tons of additional life-changing information and instant answers to your questions, thus fast-tracking your way to success.